Inter-School Debates, powered by Stay Free and brought to you in partnership with Save the Children. For the last few weeks, it has been our privilege to host 64 schools from across the globe. We had schools from India, Nepal, various countries in the Middle East and Africa participating in this debating extravaganza. And it's been absolutely fantastic. The kind of debates that have happened, every student has been mind-blowing with the arguments. Today, we look forward to another such wonderful debate. So without much ado, let me start. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have another wonderful debate lined up for all of you today. We have today the CRPF Public School Rohini, Delhi, going up against Sri Shikshayatan School, Kolkata. This is a Pool D match. Other Pool D matches have happened before this. This is, I think, the penultimate Pool D match. So you know exactly what scores on the leaderboard you're up against. This is the 27th match in the zero-hour debates. Most of you already know the rules, so let me quickly start introducing the teams. But before we do that, we are very proud to have been powered by Stay Free. Stay Free, as you all know, is a brand for women's hygiene, particularly young women just entering their puberty. Here is this short public service message that they wanted us to share with all of you before we begin.
मेरे पीरियड शुरू हो गए।
पहली बार हो रहे हैं मुझे, तो काफी अजीब लग रहा है।
पीरियड्स में मुझे आसान काम भी मुश्किल लगता है, बहुत दर्द होता है।
मैं किसी के पास बैठ भी नहीं सकती और जब मैं उठती हूँ बार बार निशान चेक करती हूँ।
घर में एक ही वॉशरूम है तो पैड चेंज करने में मुझे शर्म आती है।
मुझे पैड को कचरे में छुपाना पड़ता है हर बार।
She may not understand what she's going through. She just needs to know. You do. Over 2 million girls will get their first period in lockdown. Your daughter or sister could be one of them. Talk to her. Tell her.
It's normal. It's just a period.
Well, after that wonderful, heartwarming message from Stay Free, let us move on with the debate. As I said, today's debate is between the CRPF Public School, Rohini, Delhi, and Sri Shikshayatan School, Kolkata. The topic today. This house believes that LGBTQ community needs legislative representation. I repeat, this house believes the LGBTQ community needs legislative representation. The two teams today, from the CRPF Public School Rohini, we have Ms. Khyati Jain, who's the adjudicator. Rupin would be speaking for the motion, while Sridhar speaks against the motion. Do we have all the participants online? You guys can turn on your cameras. We would love to see all of you. Wonderful. From the Sri Shikshayatan School, we have Merush ma'am, who's the adjudicator. Shudikha is speaking for the motion, while Atrey speaks against the motion. As you know, we have 3 adjudicators, one from each school and one neutral adjudicator from Notebook. Today, we have the privilege of having Mr. Philip Burrett as the neutral adjudicator. Mr. Burrett retired as the deputy headmaster of the illustrious Doon School in Dehradun after 44 years of serving in education across various institutions. He served the Doon School for more than 3 decades in various capacities, retiring as the deputy headmaster. One of the roles that he held was the Dean of Activities, and in that role, he has adjudicated and seen over thousands of debates. So, sir, before we start, if you could have a few words from you.
Thank you very much, Shubayu. I hope I'm audible, Shubayu.
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah. So, a very good afternoon to all the participants. That is Rupin, Sridhar, Sudishka, and Atre. Warm greetings from my side. Also to your teachers who are judging with me. Let me tell them it's not going to be easy because the standards of debating are very good. In all the weeks that we've judged, I have not met even one poor debater. They've been good, they've been excellent. It's not easy because it's nail-biting finishes. It's very, very tight. You all are in a very, very, envious position representing your schools on an international debate, because, public speaking is a very important life skill. It looks very good on a CV. College admissions officers look upon it very, very strongly. So may I wish you all the very best. Try and convince us on your points. Be logical, be well organized, and we're looking out for how you speak, your styles, your vocabulary, grammar, etc., etc. So may the best team win, and very best to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. A quick note to the audience. I know all of you are raising your hands because you want to tell your friends you're here. It's a little distracting when you're speaking. So if you could keep those hands low for now, you will get your chance to vote for your favorite speaker at the end of the debate, which means after they're done with their arguments and rebuttals. So just hold on until then. If the speakers are ready, this is the speaking order. We would start with Rupin, then Atrey, then Shudikha, and then Sridhar. All right, just a quick check. The judges, do you have access to the scoring sheets?
Yes, we do have.
Yes, this is Meru Shakhtar. I have access.
Thank you so
This
much,
is
ma'am.
Khyati. We have access to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Khyati, ma'am, so much. Well, if you're ready, Rupin, before we start the debate, we would love to know you a little bit better. Your hobbies, what you enjoy doing, which class you're in.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rupin Kaur, representing CRPF Rohini today. And I sing, I play a few instruments, I act, and I read. And I'm in 12th standard humanities, and my favorite subject is psychology.
Wonderful, Rupin. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your 5 minutes now.
Maya Angelou told a gathering of estimated 4,000 predominantly LGBT people celebrating gay and lesbian choruses at the Gala Festival in Tampa, and I quote, "I'm gay, I'm lesbian, I'm black, I'm white, I'm Native American, I'm Christian, I'm Jew, I'm Muslim," end quote. She believed in the shared humanity of all people, regardless of their race and gender. Oscar Wilde was a celebrated poet and playwright known for works such as The Picture of Dorian Gray, and he went on to invent electrifying literature while facing persecution for homosexual acts. Duti Chand became India's first openly LGBTQ athlete and is the fastest woman in India. These personalities are from different time periods, different countries, but they still had to go through the same maltreatment because of their sexualities. And this is why this House believes that the LGBTQ community needs legislative representation. It is not just an ode to those who were oppressed. It is not just for those who stood up and brought change. It is because excellent individuals have been overlooked for way too long because they choose to love against the constraints of this heteronormative society. LGBTQ representation is a human rights issue since the actions of the legislature have increasingly broad and far-reaching impacts on the society. Respected and competent representation at the legislature is critical to the future of success of many groups, and in this case, the LGBTQ community. Moreover, even though most countries have legalized homosexuality, stigma and taboos still surround the topic. Homophobia and transphobia are still major problems, and only 28 countries have legalized same-sex marriage. And those numbers are insultingly low because people still have to fight to legalize their natural selves. Generations have fought for the right to love who they want, and they are still fighting. And that really does say a lot about the societies we live in and our lawmakers. The LGBTQ community has been subjected to systemic discrimination and inhumane acts like conversion therapies, exorcisms, and their sexualities being considered as an illness. And yet, most of the people in our lawmaking systems are homophobes and sexists and people with the emotional quotients of cacti. And I agree that the community has come so far, but they are still marginalized. They are still subjected to hate and bigotry, and they are still underrepresented. And each day that we deny them the right to represent themselves, democracies turn into tyrannies of entitlement. And if we don't allow representatives of the community will remain subjects of the government, and they will never become contributive citizens. As much as we need those representatives to fix what is already wrong, we need them to represent the country and the population. As more people are learning about the LGBTQ community, homophobia and transphobia are also increasing. Homosexuality and transsexuality are stigmatized more now than ever. And the only way to bring a change and fix the mistakes of the past is to let people who've been affected by those mistakes be their own voices and change the society for the better. Over to the moderator.
Wonderful, Rupin. Very, very well done. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheets. If you could please put in Rupin's scores. Her scores go in the first column on the left. Bharat sir, I can see your scores coming in. Thank you so much. Khyati ma'am, I can see your scores coming in as well. Thank you. Merush ma'am, I can see your scores as well. Rupin, we'll just wait for all the scores to be in so that I can tabulate them and show them to you. So may I take that as your final score?
Yes, Shubhayu, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Merush ma'am, may I take that as your final score?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Khyati ma'am, may I take that as final?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, Rupin, if you can see the screen, these are your scores on 95 after your initial 5 minutes of debating up on the screen now. Well done, some wonderful scores there. Let's see how the others catch up. Atre, you're up next.
I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, Atre, we can see you, we can hear you loud and clear. We would love to know you a little better before we start the debate.
I don't want to address myself as an enthusiast or a pro, as someone like to call it, but I am a learner. I like to learn from a lot of things, and that is one of the reasons that I'm here. Also, I like listening to music and talking a lot, which is also one of the reasons why I'm here debating. So yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you so much.
Great, Atre. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your 5 minutes now.
All young people, regardless of their sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment to achieve their full potential. This is a quote I stated, which is by Harvey Milk, an American politician and the first openly gay elected official in the history of California. He was shot dead, and the main reason behind him being killed was that he was homosexual. So the members of the House, how can we ensure that a mere representation in the legislature will ensure security for the already vulnerable community that LGBTQ is? A very good evening to all present. This is Atre Sarkar of Sri Shiksha School, Kolkata, speaking against the motion on the topic, this House believes LGBTQ community needs legislative representation. So the very first thing that struck my mind the moment I saw the motion was the unintended use of discrimination to eradicate the same. Chalking out a special representation for LGBTQ community is basically an indirect method of discriminating the propaganda itself. I'll elaborate why. Firstly, because the initial agenda of LGBTQ social movement is just demanding inclusivity and to create a sense of belonging. The moment we voice an argument over why lesbianism shouldn't be a part of active feminism or gay empowerment shouldn't be a part of active men empowerment, we are creating a social outrage by distinguishing them from the so-called normal crowd ourselves, which will end up widening the already wide gap that exists between the two without merging it. Focusing on the country that we live in, okay, as Khyati mentioned before me, where homophobia is an enormity, the corrupt politics might end up accusing the entire concept of representation as privilege, which is after all a wrong portrayal of the situation. This will not only affect the LGBTQ community, but also force the neutral to take up a side. Coming to my next point. So, in no way we can assure if a male representation will be beneficial for the community or not. A post that is held by a member from the LGBTQ community will not assure in getting justice for the community, because all the other members in the legislature are the same old homophobic ones. So the primary step or the primary concern that we need to have in this moment is to educate people, educate those homophobic ones to broaden their viewpoints on this topic. Okay, so I'll come back to this technical part later. But first of all, I would like to know how exactly will the government determine someone as homosexual or heterosexual exactly? How do you think they're supposed to do that? Like, for example, you see a person, you can tell if they are a man or woman from their physical attributes. If you see a caste certificate of someone, you can tell if that person belongs from OBC, SC, or ST community. If you run a swab test on a person, you know if he has COVID-19. If you see a black guy, you know being a place to kneel on is not one of the things he is. So anyways, let's not go there. But in a similar way, you can't determine if a person is gay or lesbian. So ultimately, you have to appoint a bureau to determine your gender, even if there is no possible way to determine it. Lastly, the motion also does not deliver a clear timeline for the action. Like now, in a year or within a decade. Keeping the current situations in mind, I guess our first focus should be decriminalizing homosexuality, which is still considered a social stigma and a political crime in many, many countries. According to me, in this case, taking baby steps is a more prudent method of development when it comes to political reformation. And to be very practical, how do we pool proper justice for the representatives if the idea in itself is so incomprehensible in a country? Plus, your professional idea being based on your sexuality is not the most parliamentary thing to do anyways. With this, I do rest my case, but I keep my stance strong. Thank you very much. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Athray. Let's see how the judges score your arguments. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheet. Athray scores go into the last column, that is the fourth column. And I can see the scores coming in. In a debate like this, being the moderator is really tough, because when you hear these arguments, there is so much you want to discuss. You throw open more questions than answers, and I can't. You will just have to give us a couple of minutes so that we can get everybody's scores in and tabulate them for you. Bharat sir, may I take that as your final score?
Yes, Shubayu, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Khyati ma'am, may I take that as your final score?
Yes, Subayu sir, you can.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Merush ma'am, may I take that score as final?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So Athray, on your screen now, these are your scores after your initial 5 minutes of arguments. Well done. Shrodika, you are up next. If we can have you on camera, please.
Yes, good evening. I'm Sudiksha Basu, first of all, it's an honor and privilege to be representing my school on this platform. And as for something about myself, I'm just a girl from the 11th standard, and I'm an avid reader. I'm passionate about music, and evidently, I love to debate as well.
Oh, wonderful. Shudika, I hope your connection is all right. I can hear and see you just fine. Just letting you know, in case there's a drop off at any point, we will pause the time. We will wait for you to join back, so don't worry.
Okay.
All right? Okay. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your 5 minutes now.
Justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. As most of you might already know, these are the 4 basic ideals that the Indian Constitution promises to secure. Equality. This word and concept is familiar to all of us, but its meanings and interpretations are multifarious. So I would like to raise a question for the audience today. What does equality mean to you? It might have different connotations for everyone, but I firmly believe that each one of us, in our own way, desire it and deserve it undeniably. A very good evening to the judges, moderator, my worthy opponents, and my dear audience. I'm Sudiksha Basu, representing Sri Shikshaatan School, Kolkata, and I vehemently stand for the motion this evening. Talking about equality, let's go to the birthplace of feminism, France, where since the revolutionary days, the main aspiration of French women was not only the right to vote, but political representation. Even back home in India during the freedom struggle, one of the key demands of many of our freedom fighters was to be able to represent themselves in legislatures, which brings me to my point. Any section of the society that has been alienated, repressed, suppressed, and marginalized needs a platform through which it can voice its grievances, opinions, and demands. And so does the LGBTQ community. Now you may ask, why is legislative representation of this community so important? Let me remind you, dear audience, that India is one of the largest representative democracies of the world. And we cannot claim to be a country that promotes equality if the LGBTQ community is sidelined, when there are more than 3 million people in India that recognize themselves as belonging to this community. Imagine being disowned from your own family, the house where you grew up, from the people you love and respect, only because of how you identify yourself, because of someone that you are. Is that freedom? Not being able to openly be yourself, love who you love, live how you want to live? This is an appalling reality for the LGBTQ community in our society, but it can be changed significantly with legislative representation for them. How and why? Let me give you an example. The Transgender Act of 2019. The bill, which was supposed to protect the rights of transgender people, was most ironically drafted and passed without approaching anyone from the community. No one from the community was part of the decision-making process. No one from the community was asked about their needs and requirements. A community which has been and still is deprived of basic rights like education, employment, healthcare, and most importantly, self-identification. There are so many issues that still remain unaddressed. For instance, as portrayed in a popular Indian web series called Patal Lok, when a person belonging to this community is detained in police custody, they are harassed, humiliated, and brutally ill-treated only because of who they are. Imagine the torment and agony for them who are misfits in both the cells provided for males and females, because like most other spheres of our society, there is no room for the other gender. Cases like these are shockingly prevalent in our country. To bring such changes, they need to be a part of the system. They need to be a part of the decision-making process. They need to be a part of the legislations of the government. And hence, dear audience, they need legislative representation. It will also alter the perception of the people in general. For people with different sexual orientations, like lesbian, gay, or bisexual people, by creating an avenue for them to come out in the open, uninhibited, without the fear of being disowned or discarded from the society. and changes are surfacing in many parts all over the world. More than 600 LGBTQ people ran for higher level offices in the US in 2018. Kate Brown from Oregon became the first openly bisexual governor, and Canada actually granted legislative representation to the LGBT community. Then why should India hold back? Granting the LGBT community legislative representation would be a step further than the constitutional provision of equality towards equity, which is pertinently the need of the hour. Dear audience, it's time that they are amalgamated and incorporated into the social fabric of our nation. It's high time that we free ourselves from the clutches of social alienation and respect diversity, embrace recognition, embrace tolerance, embrace acceptance. Thank you. Over to the moderator.
Sridhika, that was absolutely fantastic. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Judges, Sridhika's scores go in the third column. I can already see the scores coming in. Perfect. You'll have to just give us a couple of minutes before we have all the scores and we can tabulate them for you. Bharat, so may I take that score?
Yes, please, Shivayu.
Thank you so much, sir. Merush ma'am, let me know when I can take the score.
Yes.
Khyati ma'am, may I take that? Yeah.
My scores
Sorry.
are finalized. Merush ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, sir, my scores are finalized.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, Sridhika, if you can see your screen, these are your scores at the end of your initial 5 minutes of debating on your screen now. Very, very well done.
Thank you so much.
Sridhar, you're up next. I will stop my share.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Sridhar, I can hear you. I can see you. We would love to know you a little better before we start.
My name is Sridhar Shashank Joshi. I'm a student of class 12 from CRPF Public School, Rohini, Delhi. My favorite subject is English, followed by computer science, and I spend my free time reading manga and listening to music.
All right. Sridhar, I'm a huge manga fan as well, so you're already my favorite in this debate. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time now.
Sweet mother, I cannot weave. Slender Aphrodite has overcome me with longing for a girl. Sappho. Sappho was a poet from the Greek island of Lesbos. The most striking feature of one of her poems, Ode to Aphrodite, significantly poised between amatory promulgation and religious invocation, is the feminine triad central to the poem's dynamic. A woman longs for another woman, and a female deity functions as the mediating figure in the resolution of this emotional predicament. If you compare this with Renaissance love lyrics, especially the Elizabethan sonnets of heterosexual love, many significant points regarding the Western tradition of love poetry can be brought to light. It's interesting to notice that at the beginning of Western love poetry, there's a lesbian muse at work. From her poetry, it can be seen that Sappho loves both men and women. And did you know that the word lesbian literally means resident from the Isle of Lesbos? The term came to describe women who love women after the island's most famous resident, the poet Sappho. Ancient Greeks and Romans had been open about their sexuality even 2,700 years ago. However, with the rise of Abrahamic religions and later the colonizers taking over the world, it became a taboo until the rise of the LGBTQ movement in the 1960s and 70s. Since then, people who identify as homosexuals, bisexuals, transsexuals, genderqueers, etc. have been open about their sexuality and have been fighting for reform. For now, there are 124 countries where same-sex relations are legal. This is only the beginning of a wave of reform for the LGBTQ community. Since we live in a modern society, I believe people shouldn't get special treatment just because of their culture, religion, or sexual orientation, whether they are a majority or a minority. Many segments of the community are not even considered marginalized around the world anymore. With this in mind, I would also like to say that even though members of the community have been denied several rights in the past, in the 21st century, 28 countries have legalized same-sex relations, same-sex marriages. And as Bob Dylan has said, the times they are changing. In theory, this topic sounds like a good idea, right? But there's always a hamartia. Every single movement going on for the past few years focuses on equal rights for every single human being. And therefore, saying that a single community needs more representation based just on their sexuality is against everything the human race has been fighting for the past few years. What I mean to say is that the ones who are worthy of having a position of power will get it regardless of their sexuality. For example, there have been 6 prime ministers, one each from Norway, Iceland, Belgium, Luxembourg, Ireland, and Serbia, who are members of the LGBT community. They all received the position of power without any quotas in place. And if a candidate is worthy, the people will not hesitate to elect them because of something that's natural. It is sexuality in this case. And even if they do, it's no longer the majority that's homophobic, it's only a handful of people. Someone's sexuality doesn't define them. Your sexuality isn't a choice, it's a natural thing. I ask you, why should someone get an advantage for something that's natural? You don't need a person who is part of the community to represent that community. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, openly supports the community and even shows up for the Pride Parade every year. I mean this with the utmost respect, and in no way do I mean to discredit the work people of the community have put in and the bravery they have shown, but the people are being represented in the legislation by their allies. And I believe that everyone should trust in their allies, because reaching the state we are in would have been much harder without them. I'd like to conclude with a quote by Wiley Blunt Rutledge. Equality before the law in a true democracy is a matter of right. It cannot be a matter of charity or of grace or of discretion. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Sridhar. I was honestly waiting for that quote to come up in this debate. When we framed this topic, we knew that this quote would come somewhere. Thank you so much for giving that to us. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Judges, please put in Sridhar's scores in the second column. Bharat sir, I can see your scores coming in. Thank you. Marush ma'am, I can see your scores coming in as well. Khyati ma'am, I can see your scores coming in as well. So Sridhar, just a couple of minutes before we can tabulate all these scores and get them across to you. I'm sure you guys will take this time to firm up your stance in the rebuttal, which will be coming up. Remember, you get 2 minutes for rebuttal, for which you have 5 more points to score. Bharat sir, I have your scores. May I take that?
Yes, please, Shibayu.
Thank you so much, sir. Khyati ma'am, I have your score as well. May I take that? Marush ma'am, may I? Okay, sorry.
Yes, sir, you can.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Finalized my scores too.
Thank you. Well, Sridhar, if you're looking at your screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes of arguments on your screen now. Well done.
Thank you.
But this is when we will see how well you have listened to the other debaters, because this is where you get to rebut their points. We will go in the same order: Rupin, Atre, Shrudika, and then Sridhar. Remember, you are not rebutting the opposition school, but the opposition bench, which means Rupin and Shrudika would be rebutting points put forth by Atre and Sridhar. All right? Let me stop the share. Rupin, if you're around.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
Harvey Milk was assassinated in 1987, and as Sridhar mentioned, there are 6 openly LGBTQ and living prime ministers around the world. And I think that the opposition is confused between the concept of representative stagnation and equality. According to the arguments they've presented, they think of the legislative system as some diverse system, but life is not a Barbie movie and the world isn't all snuggly and nice. And if the pre-existent leaders did have something positive to contribute or some baby steps to take, negative biases based on sexual orientations would have been ancient history by now. So the community doesn't really need more heterosexual saviors because they're clearly bad at their job. And it's high time we change that, because the only reason representation is being asked for in the first place is because these so-called worthy representatives have not been able to make the society a more equal place. And if you're telling me just because we've started to give a community some rights and we've started to treat them with bare minimum respect, and just because it's not safe so they don't deserve representation, you need to take a seat, rethink and introspect, because settling for anything less than an equal and just society will not suffice anymore. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Rupin. Some forceful rebuttal there. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Judges, if you could please put in Rupin's score for the rebuttal. Bharat sir, I have your score. Thank you. Merush ma'am, I have your score as well. And Kati ma'am, I have your score as well. Thank you so much. Well, Rupin, this is where I should ideally show you your score, but I will just create a bit of suspense because I will show you the rebuttal scores after all the 4 rebuttals are over. Atre, you are up next. If you could have you on camera and unmuted, please.
I hope I'm audible and visible. Am I?
Yeah, Atre. You are? If you're ready, we will start your time for the rebuttal now.
Okay, so the members of the House, as you might have noticed in the arguments of my worthy opponents, Khyati and Sudiksha, they failed to deliver a reason so as to why the members exactly need a representation. The only thing that they're focusing on is their voices need to be heard. Sudiksha mentioned the point of Patal Lok. Yes, the Patal Lok shows that a woman who's not getting a proper place, a proper prison. How do you think that the government who can't arrange a prison for homosexuals, how do you think they'll arrange an entire legislative system? They need to learn in the first place to differentiate between the two because of the homophobia that is existing in the world, existing in India to be precise right now. Thank you so much. I guess I've made my point clear.
Well, Atre, let's see how the judges scored that rebuttal. That was kept very short and succinct. Judges, please put in Atre's scores for the rebuttal in the 4th column. Merush ma'am, would you be okay if I moved your score? Perfect, ma'am. Thank you so much. I have Khyati ma'am's score as well. And I have Bharat sir's scores as well. Great. Well, it's now Shudika's turn. Shudika, if you're ready, can we have you on camera and unmuted, please, before? Shudika, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
if you're ready for your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
right. So as one of my worthy opponents mentioned, giving legislative representation would hamper the social equilibrium and it completely eradicates the idea of equality. But let me reiterate, as I've already mentioned in my speech, it is not about equality, it is about the outcome, equity. The LGBTQ community is, however you say it, they are being marginalized, and that is the reality. They need that representation. Then why would the father of the constitution have made different electorates for the marginalized castes or the backward classes? Because at that time they did need that representation, they did need that privilege, and so does the LGBTQ community right now. So over to the moderator.
Well, Shudhika also keeping it quite short. Let's see how the judges are scoring Shudhika. I have Bharat sir's score. I have Khyati ma'am's score. And I have Shudhika ma'am's, I have Merush ma'am's score as well. Well, Sridhar, you're up next. If you're ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
I would like to start off by saying we should stop feeding into biases in the name of equality and representation. Equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunities. And now, more than ever, people of the LGBTQ community are equal to everyone else, and giving someone more power than the others isn't equality. My worthy opponents have been droning on and on about how the LGBTQ has been oppressed for so long. I am in no way denying that, but like every other group that has faced hardships, they are now speaking up, and that's great. But being oppressed doesn't make someone eligible to be a legislative representative. For that to happen, a person has to be educated, knowledgeable, and should be able to work for every person they are representing and not just a single community. There are a lot of requirements a person has to meet to be a representative of the state, and being oppressed has never been a requirement. Do keep in mind, I don't mean to say that members of an oppressed community don't deserve representation. I mean to say that everyone deserves representation. As my opponent said, legalization of homosexual activities hasn't gotten rid of taboos. I would like to ask them, how will legislative representation change that? Taboos will only go away with time. And as much as we'd all like it to be, our world isn't a perfect one. I will conclude by saying that the members of the LGBTQ community are no longer in the shadows. The world is more accepting than it has ever been, and they are as important to the society as anyone else. Over to the moderator.
Well, Sridhar, well done. Let's see how the judges are scoring that rebuttal. Bharat sir, I have your scores. Thank you. Khyati ma'am, I have your score as well. Thank you so much. Merush ma'am, I have your scores as well. So with that, we now have the scores of all four of you. You guys have made your arguments for the first 5 minutes. Brilliant rebuttals in the next 2 minutes that was given to you. And I have all the scores now. I should be tabulating them and showing them to you. But this is where I play the evil moderator, because I'm going to keep you in suspense for a little while longer, because there are a few important messages that we want to get across to you. We at Notebook are an edtech company. We try and help students study easier, better, and more accessibly by making small videos out of your classroom content. How this helps is in two ways. So let's say a teacher is taking a class. This could be an online class or an offline class. The teacher has access to these videos that they can play for 6 to 10 minutes before the class starts. What that does is bring every student up to the same level as far as visualizing the content is concerned. After that is done, the rest of the class can be done through engaging debates, discussions, and much deeper deliberations. 6 months later, when you have your exams coming up and you need to kind of revise the same topic, you can access that same video from your personal device, a smartphone, a laptop, or whatever you have access to. And you can then revise watching that same video. And what we have realized that it does is it also reminds you what the teacher had taught in class that day, right? What I will do now is show you a small clip of one of the notebook videos so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hello students, over the next few videos, we are going to discuss how the feeling of nationalism emerged in the minds and hearts of the Indian people. Before we go into the details, let us understand the meaning of the term nationalism. Nationalism is the feeling of love, patriotism, and sacrifice which we have for our motherland. This feeling of nationalism did not emerge suddenly in the hearts of the Indian people. Rather, it was certain policies of the British government that indirectly contributed to the growth of nationalism. For the Indians, the concept of India being their motherland was an abstract one. For them, motherland did not mean the whole of India. It meant the kingdom or province in which they were born. For example, a person born in Jhansi had a more immediate connection with Jhansi than with India. The most important factor that contributed to the growing feeling of nationalism was British imperialism. It made the geographical, political, and administrative unification of the country possible. A centralized state structure, common laws, and currency system under British rule unified India and gave its citizens a national consciousness. The introduction of Western education as method of instruction in Indian schools and English as a medium of instruction also contributed to the rise of Indian nationalism. The Indian people now had a common official language for communication instead of numerous local or regional languages. Earlier, Persian was the official language of communication used by the Mughals. The introduction of telegraphs and railways in 1852 and 1853 also contributed to the rise of nationalism as it brought people closer to each other and allowed people to cover long distances. The railways joining various diverse parts of the landscape also gave Indians a national imagination by connecting diversified geographical regions. The first railway line was laid from Bombay to Thane in 1853. Initially, the Indians were very dissatisfied when the railways were introduced. They expected separate coaches reserved for them based on their castes and religions. However, this did not happen, and they felt this was deliberately done by the British to defile their religious purity. However, as Indians started traveling together on these trains, they started interacting with each other. They soon realized that their problems may have been different, but all of them were suffering from a common evil, that of the British government. The Britishers had always portrayed Indians as barbarians and defended themselves by saying that they had colonized India to civilize its people. Soon, several scholars and religious reformers started writing articles in which they emphasized the past glory and the rich heritage of India. They wrote about the golden age of the Guptas, Mauryas, and the Mughals, emphasizing that they had a rich syncretic history, culture, and tradition which had been destroyed by the coming of the British. The Asiatic Society of Bengal and scholars such as Max Muller, Monier Williams, Henry Thomas Colebrook, Mahadev Govind Ranade, Hari Prasad Shastri, R.G. Bhandarkar, and Rajendra Lal Mitra studied and published ancient Indian literature.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was a short clip of one of the notebook videos. We have with us Achin Bhattacharya today. Achin is the founder and CEO of Notebook. Achin is a chartered accountant by training, who was a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. Achin, we would love to hear from you on your thoughts on today's debate, the topic we have at hand, and your advice to these budding young speakers.
Good evening, everyone. Wonderful session. Shudika, Rupin, and Sridhar. Really happy to see all of you deliberating so maturely. Your confidence and sensitive approach, reassures me of a better tomorrow. Indeed, as future leaders who will take our society forward, all of you have an important responsibility of not only seeking truth on any issue, but also standing up for it. Public discourse is essential for free and fair functioning of any democratic society. And thus, I would request all of you to not only work on your speaking skills or oratory skills, I'm sure they'll get better with time, but also to develop great listening skills by being patient, tolerant, and flexible. It's really important to give a patient hearing to the other person with an open mind and debate on merit to find out what is right without any individual baggage. I really congratulate all of you for your fantastic performance. And today, irrespective of the result, to me, all of you go home as winners, as champions. At Notebook, We really aspire to engage with each one of you and work together towards a better tomorrow. With 10,000 videos and more than 1 million users, we are still at our infancy, in spite of being labeled as the best and fastest edtech portal at multiple forums. I also thank all stakeholders who have contributed to this beautiful evening, both the learned educators, principals of both the schools, and all your teachers and parents who have invested their time and hope on each one of you. You have indeed made all of them proud. I also thank the audience for your enthusiastic response. We are indeed humbled. In fact, when we started 0 Hour, we had 64 slots and we got more than 300 entries. And today I can tell you, with our Together for Education webinar that we hold for esteemed educators and parents, and 0 Hour debate sessions, more than 25,000 people have attended them so far from all over the world. Indeed, we thank each one of you. We are truly humbled. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye. Over to you, Shubhayu.
Thank you, Achin. We are also very proud to have partnered with Save the Children for this 0 Hour debate. Save the Children, as some of you already know, is an NGO that's just over 100 years old. They work across the globe to help children have a better childhood. Children who are dying before the age of 5 or children who are growing up in hostile environments who are not as fortunate as us have saved the children watching their backs. Here is a short message from their CEO, Ms. Vidisha Pillai. Can we roll the video, please?
Save the Children was born in 1919. 100 years is not a milestone that many organizations or individuals can claim to have reached. And for us, it's been a tireless, relentless journey to ensure that every child has access to their rights. Every child has a voice. But when we look back at 100 years, because 100 is also a time to reflect, we wonder what it would be like to live in a world where children don't need to be saved. Perhaps we could live in a world where Save the Children does not need to exist. And so as we look at the future, we envision a world which is much kinder to its children. A world in which children no longer need to be protected from violence. Where children are not needlessly dying before they turn 5. Where every child is going to school, is learning, is playing, and is on that path towards fulfilling their full potential. As we turn 100, we pledge to work towards that future of a much kinder and brighter world for children. Every day, every hour, every minute, we will continue on that path. But we also know we can't do it alone. We want to work closely with the communities, with our partners, with the government, and most importantly, with the children themselves. They are going to be the change makers of tomorrow. Children like Onuyara, like Rahul, like Salman, like Mamta, they are the ones who are breaking gender stereotypes. They are challenging social norms, and they are changing the world and the lives of themselves and also children around them. We pledge to continue working with them, alongside them, to ensure that every child gets the right start. I'm Vidisha Pillai, and I invite you to join Save the Children in our commitment to ensure that every child gets the right start.
Well, after those wonderful messages, the participants would really kill me if I did not show you them their scores now. After so much of suspense, you guys should come back on camera. It would be good to see all of you. So the debate between CRPF Public School Rohini and Shri Shikshayatan School Kolkata. This is how the scores have stacked up at the end of your 5 minutes of arguments and 2 minutes of rebuttal. Rupin finished at 90, Atri at 85, Shudika well done with 95, and Sridhar is at 91. This puts the schools at a very, very interesting piece of scoring, where the CRPF Public School average is 91 and Shri Shikshayatan average is 90. The margin is actually slimmer than that because we rounded up the scores. CRPF Public School, your score is 90.667 recurring. And Sri Shiksha, your score is 90.166 recurring. So there's literally a gap of 0.5 between the two schools. And this is where you, the audience, come into play. A lot of you have been asking us on the Q&A boxes, when do we get to vote? How do we get to vote? This is where you get to vote. And is this going to be a very, very important vote or what? You will see a poll come up on your screen. You will have all the 4 speakers listed there. You have 1 minute to cast your vote. But remember, you can cast a vote only once. So think well and cast your vote. You should see the poll come up on your screen now. And you have 1 minute to cast your votes. 240 people in the audience, so we are waiting for 240 votes to come in. The participants can actually see the polls as it happens. And I can see them right now. And their facial expressions in itself will create a small web series right now. The kind of emotions all of them are going through. Halfway in, we still have 40 odd votes yet to come in. About 10 seconds to go. Five now. If you have not voted, I don't think you'll get a chance because the poll ends now. These are the results on your screen. That was very, very closely fought. Rupin with 34% giving a tough run to Shudika, who wins with 47% of the audience votes. Very, very well done. While I take off for just a minute to tabulate the final scores, Bharat sir, can we have you back? We would love to hear your summary of today's debate. I believe we saw something that was absolutely inspiring.
Yes, Subhayu, we've had some close debates, but this has been like something like a penalty shootout at a World Cup final. And, you know, it's amazing. I've never seen such a close debate. It gets better and better. Quite a difficult topic in the sense that slightly weighed in favor of the motion, because my statistics show me that 11% of the world are LGBT, and they've had a rough time, and possibly they do need some sort of protection. Although some of our speakers did mention that if you single them out for special treatment, it just stalls the integration. I've noticed that as a teacher, when some people are given special protection, it just takes a longer time for them to be accepted. So let me tell you, Rupin, you got a beautiful musical voice. You know, you had some wonderful points. You're very poised. You have wonderful pace about you. I think you should take to public speaking professionally. There's a timbre to your voice that is really professional. Well done. Sridhar, I love that research in the opening few sentences. Your historical background, the tapestry you drew was amazing. And at least you did well to show what I was just talking about, that to be integrated, you need to be accepted. And you know, you made some very good points there. Sudishka, you very well defined the topic. You're naturally talented. You're a natural debater. You connected with us with your smile, your eye contact, and you also were it's very important to say that they need a voice. The LGBT need a voice. You made an emotional impact when you spoke towards the end with us. And Atre, you're the helper. You said you were a learner. I love that, because we're all learners. You had some wonderful points. The best being, of course, that what we really need in the world is an education. We need to be aware, and we need to be taught about who these people are, rather than just have legislation. So with those few words, well done. In fact, if the 4 of you had to debate for the next 1 week, you'd have different people emerging as winners. It's so close. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So at the end of that very, very closely contested debate. These are the final points. CRPF Public School, you averaged 91. Sri Shikshayatan, with those 25 added points for having the best speaker, gets to 115 points, which means in the match number 27 of Pool D at this 0-hour debate, Sri Shikshayatan School Kolkata are the winners. Congratulations to all 4 of you. I mean, the level of debating for a topic this matured at your level was unimaginable. I seriously stand in awe of all your debating talents. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we will draw today to a close. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. India time for another such fantastic debate. Until then, take care and goodbye.